for many of us, we know, okay, basil's basil. Yeah, not exactly. There are more than 100 varieties of basil, but the top two that people seem to know about are two of them. Thai basil, which is kind of a purplish plant, and it's a perennial plant, and then Italian basil, or some people call it Genovese basil. That's from Genoa, and that's the one that you see more often. And if you actually touch the leaves, you can get it on your fingers, and it's very aromatic. I do have a recipe for one way to cook both, or to actually use both kinds of basil, and Sarah's going to be sending that out. One is Thai basil pesto with peanut and sesame and such. Although I recognize it's a little bit harder to get Thai basil in the market right now. So I've created a pesto sauce for you with Italian basil or Genovese basil. And it's really simple. It's basically 2 cups of basil leaves and a 1/4 cup each of olive oil and Parmesan cheese. And then the extra bit, I'm going to show you how I prepared it. Is nuts, which many people use pine nuts. They're expensive. Or roasted walnuts. You can see the difference between the roasting and the not. You just put this in the oven for about 3 minutes. The roasted makes a big difference. So you take your solid bits, which are basically the cheese, like this Trader Joe's product. The olive oil comes in last. All right, so you put in your basil and your cheese, then drizzle in the olive oils with the blender. You don't really need a food processor. Pulse it a few times, blend it a few minutes, and then that's it. You put it into just a small jar, and you can keep it in the fridge for a couple weeks. I just put it in small jars like this, right? With a little bit of olive oil on top to seal it. See that? You can put it in the freezer for 90 days, and then you have pesto. So what would you use pesto on? I think a real common one is you move it in with a little bit more olive oil and vinegar. You make a vinaigrette, great. Put it on top of pasta, sure. Make a margarita pizza, which is you put it a little bit on your pizza pan on your base. Add a little bit of tomato. But this is a little bit different. So I put pesto in a biscuit recipe. Whether you want to use just a box biscuit, we like a start or scratch. So this is a scratch biscuit. And then here's something fun. These are little bites of mac and cheese in a ball-shaped form with a bit of pesto on top. Now, I did not make these. This is actually a Trader Joe's product. And they're these new products. You see this? Little mac and cheese bites. You bake them just for a few minutes. Really tasty, really rich, really easy to do. And then a little pesto on top. And that's a simple appetizer. That's lunch. That's whatever you'd like. So that's basil for today. I'm going to send the recipes through Sarah, and of course with photographs. Next week, we're going to look at bear spice, which is kind of like a curry spice. Everybody, is just not a curry name. It means a blend, and bear is an Ethiopian blend, and it's used in many dishes in Ethiopia. It's got a lot of flexibility for the way that you might cook easily as well. So next week, we're going to look at bear. I'd like to give you an update also on what we talked about today in support, like, what can we do? We are moving along on this collection of cards as recipes, as Olga has recommended, and I've spoken with Christina about from 2020. We have 50 recipes, which I consider the church owns now. And we're going to create this card deck based on the survey. And we might actually produce it more in-house just to save funds and make it more of a fundraiser as well as a friend raiser. And I would like that money to go then to Christina and what that's all about. That's my suggestion. That's not necessarily what everyone will agree with, but that would be my suggestion, yes. So yeah, this is 2021, and it's my privilege to do this every week. Hello, Terry. I know you always have comments about these things.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Pesto question. If you use pine nuts, do you roast them as you would?
Yes, you do. Very good question. Yeah, it's the same thing. Now, you can roast in the oven. That would be high, 425 for just a few minutes, not through 350. 350 is more a baking thing, but you're roasting this, right? So 425. Or just do them dry in a nonstick pan. And that's only going to take you a couple minutes as well.
Okay, I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too, always after I do this. Actually, while I do this, I'm doing the food photography and I'm going, I really would like to eat this, not just display this, but that's all right. So the walnuts I showed you this morning, Terry, that's just dry roast in a little nonstick pan. All right.
Yeah.
So simple, but it's an add-on. You know, there's 2 cups of basil in this recipe, but you can switch it out. Also 1 cup of basil if you don't have that much from your plant or something that you get just in a little bag. 1 cup each of basil and parsley. Some people do that. It's
Can
not
you
a
chop up-
cilantro recipe though. This would be Italian parsley or flat leaf parsley, right? And then your Parmesan cheese and also the extra virgin olive oil part for this is a Trader Joe's product, is really important because you're not baking with this. You're not cooking with the olive oil. It's raw, right? So just, use a really good quality olive oil. You will taste the difference when it's an EVU product, extra virgin olive
And you
oil.
chop up the basil leaves. Just chop it up, chop them into little fine pieces. Is that what you
No.
do?
Thank you for asking. Just tear them. Simple. This is a real rustico, easy recipe.
Okay.
So just tear your basil leaves, add your parsley if you'd like, add your nuts, your Parmesan cheese, drizzle in your olive oil, kind of pour it in, pulse it a little bit. Then you
That
get
has
something
Romano.
that's pretty thick.
That one has Romano in it.
It is. And I personally like a Parmesan that's got some Romano. Some people like the Asiago as well. It's a little bit more pungent. This is a blended product. You could just use plain Parmesan. All right. It's no more expensive to have the Romano. I just like that little taste.
Well, the authentic Parmigiano Reggiano is about $20 a pound. I mean, that I imagine.
That's why this is great. This is less than $5 and it'll last you for a long time. So
No, I gladly spend $20 a pound for the authentic Reggiano Parmigiano. So
and that's
wouldn't
a
that be
really
better?
great point. I wouldn't necessarily use it in this recipe. It'll get lost with all the garlic and such as well because there's 2 cloves of garlic in here. That's what makes pesto. It's the garlic and the basil part. The cheese kind of binds it together, the olive oil as well. So you really don't need high grade cheese for this in that way. I'd save the Parmigiano Reggiano for a pasta dish and just shave it on the top,
Yeah.
use that.
Okay.
More impact.
Good.
So the idea of all these recipes is something easy and versatile that you can use. You'll see that the Thai basil, I noted suggestions like put that on rice noodles, put it on vegetables, glaze it over tofu and just put it in your nonstick pan. A very easy gluten-free, dairy-free vegetarian dish, right? So there are recipes for both and suggestions for both the Thai basil and the Italian basil this week. But I thought to show you, this is much easier to get in the market right now, Thai basil plants, or even just Thai basil that's in a little bag in the produce section. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching this YouTube video. If Unity's message of positive spiritual living resonates with you, I hope you'll subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date on other lessons as we post them. Also, if you're able to support us financially in the work that we do in the world, please check below for contact information. You can visit our website, find more about what programming we offer, as well as how to give. Blessings.
Good job. I love that.